Welcome to the Customer Success Review with Russell and Jan podcast, a production of Success League Radio. This podcast focuses on interesting topics trending in customer success each week and includes our takes on each. Welcome to the podcast. Hi, I'm Russell Bourne.
And I'm Jan Young, and we're the co-hosts of Customer Success Review with Russell and Jan. We also both work for the Success League, a boutique customer success consulting and training firm based in San Francisco.
Well, I'm really excited for our topic this week. We are going to talk about community versus message boards. And I'm excited about this because this was the topic that gave us the idea to do this podcast in the first place.
It did. It inspired everything.
So it came about because you and I were talking about our class on scaling a customer success program. And a lot of that has to do with digital CS, and a lot of that has to do with community. And one component of community that I had laid out in our class material was message boards. And so we got down this big discussion of whether the term message board is outdated and whether community meant more than that.
Yes, because I felt like, I'm not even sure, I have to go back to the slide. I don't even know if it was mentioned as community. I think it might have only been mentioned as message boards, which even offended me more. Especially, part of my thing is, of course, I love building communities. So, and I've never built a message board.
All right, so let's maybe say, let's agree on terminology. So community is just the overall system of customers talking to each other and you as a vendor talking to them in maybe group settings. Is that on point?
I think community is more than that, but why don't I think it's easier to define message boards. Let's do that one first.
Okay. Go ahead.
Anyway, well, no, okay, message boards, to me, it's like something from the 1990s. And the one you showed me of your Rolling Stone music group message board does look like it's still in the 1990s. And it's just like, it's like this old tech, and you put in your name, and then you're talking there, and there is a sense of community that's built there. But it just seems like a message board is super limited. And I don't know, maybe when you have a community platform, maybe that's what they call that. I think that's more of a feed, though. You think about it, I don't say, let's go and gather on the LinkedIn message board. I'm like, hey, I'm looking forward to seeing your posts and comments in my LinkedIn feed. You know what I mean? I don't know. Is there, other than your music group message boards that were created back in the 90s, is there another message board that still exists really? Do you, I don't know. Okay, I'm flabbergasted, so if that's a word. But seriously, I don't even have words for it. So go ahead, your turn.
So, all right, so I'll give you my stance. So I think that a community is built up of many components, and it can be stuff like in-person events and webinars and office hours. And I will just use the term message board. A message board is one component of an overall community. And so when I say message board, I don't mean that to mean the whole community platform. So specific to the term of message board, I guess, what would you call it if someone can post a thread topic and then a bunch of other people can post replies and you can interact about that topic? Is there a better name for that than message board? And if so, is the thing any different, or are we just arguing about a dated name for the same thing?
Well, I want to go back and look at the slide as well, because I think that we don't actually even mention community. I think we only mention message boards, which again offends my sensibilities. But community is definitely it is definitely creating that connection, but to have a strong community, there's all of these things you have to build into it. And I'm talking more about when you're doing B2B communities, right?
Right.
What you're doing to not just extend your brand and your product, but also to build that emotional connection with your customers and between your customers.
Right.
And I think it's possible to have enough of a sense of community with the others that are using the platform, that would be enough sometimes, like, to keep you with that product than to move you over to something else, right? Like, because unless that other new product is so good, like, if they're basically even, you'd stay with the one where your community is built, where you have all of your badges, where you're like the person who's the expert, where you've connected with other people in your profession, you know. And so, like, there's collaboration that you're doing there. There's content that you create as well as you receive. You know, there's some sort of continuity that you're that you need to build. If you are building a community, you need to make certain there's continuity, that you have experts from within your company that are participating and making themselves available, that you have somebody who's keeping watch over it and guiding it. You know, there's just you know, and even like when you're creating this community, like, you also need to even have a sense of, is this something that people are always going to look at from their phones or from their computers? Is there video? Like, all of these different things, you know, that you're going to have as elements in this community. You know, it is a bigger thing to think about community than just the message board. And maybe that's where we were mixing our, you know, when we were trying to have a conversation about it before, because I think that message boards, or the feed that you have there, is part of it. But and maybe since you've been talking about it, you think about it that way too. I don't know. Maybe we don't agree. I mean, maybe we don't disagree.
Right. I mean, there are different types of feeds too, right? LinkedIn is one very specific type of feed where when you log in and you click on home, there's some sort of content that gets curated, and it's generally laid out so that the newest is at the top. Whereas, for example, in my Rolling Stones message board, or in Gain Grow Retain, where we met, that is sort of a bulletin board. It's not a feed. You don't scroll through it. You just go through and click the topic that you're interested in, and then you see all the messages for that topic. Right? And I think Gain Grow Retain has done a great job of creating a community. The message board is one component of that.
But the platform, the online platform, was actually later, because, you know,
That's right.
First it was getting people together, you know, CS leaders together on a weekly basis to talk about various topics, and so, you know, so there are definitely different aspects that, in terms of, and ways that you can go about creating community, and how to connect others, you know, to establish it. And then, frankly, it can be very challenging to transfer what you have in you know, webinars, or, you know, those types of conversations, and translating it onto, whether it's a Slack channel or some other sort of, you know, feed or something like that, right? Like, that can be tricky. But of course, GGR, the format is you talk to people, you do the breakout groups, and so you're connecting in a more intimate way, and then also with the whole group, which is probably why it was easier for them to translate it to online, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And so when you think about B2B, then building that community, like, what brings them there? Is it something where initially you're just trying to do some support questions and give them resources? Is there, you know, that's a common way to get people started? You know, is there a way, maybe also establishing it as a hub, a resource hub for all the various webinars and blogs? You know, like, if you sort of build it as sort of a place to go to for anything, and then you realize, and give people, I think it's important to give people a way to contribute and to connect.
Yes.
Right? That's, I think it's a connection that is that's at the root of any of the emotional aspect of community anyway.
I think we found two more topics for future episodes. I think
Yeah.
what you just said about the human connection, the emotional connection, and you also mentioned something about badges and gamification, and I think that's worth its own episode too.
Yeah. Well, and I also think about that in terms of change management. So that could be another topic as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
Well, for
right.
now, I think we've reached our time limit. This was much, much more muted than our original discussion, but I think that's
Yes.
okay. I think I think we figured out that we were talking about the same things with different titles.
Right, right.
All right. So, the Customer Success Review with Russell and Jan is part of Success League Radio, a podcast channel focused on customer success. We encourage you to check out the other shows on our channel, including Innovations in Leadership, which features in depth interviews with CS leaders, Reading for Success, which reviews CS books and articles and sometimes has author interviews, and CS Essentials in conjunction with Gainsight, which covers how to get your CS program up and running.
If you enjoy our shows, I'd like to ask you a favor. Share our show on social media. Help us get out the word to the CS community in LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever you want to share it. We want to continue to produce great content, and to do that, we need the support of our amazing customer success colleagues. Great.
This podcast is a production of Success League Radio. To learn more about the Success League's consulting and training offerings, please visit our website, thesuccessleague.io. Oh, you're killing me. And for more great customer success content, follow the Success League on LinkedIn or at TSL Customers on Twitter. You can subscribe to Success League Radio on Apple, Google, Amazon, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we hope you'll join us next time.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.